Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, proud to support the mission of KPBS and privileged to serve San Diego clients. Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, helping homeowners maintain drain, heating, and cooling systems since 1978. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marcos Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
Good evening. It's Wednesday, August 4th. Thank you for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Back to school is fast approaching, even as COVID-19 cases continue to rise. KPBS reporter Melissa May says healthcare providers are trying to prepare families with fun, health-related programs.
The family End of Summerpalooza is helping East County families get ready for back to school, with an added bonus of providing free COVID-19 vaccines to anyone 12 and older.
The best way to strengthen our community's defense against this virus and get back to normal is to get vaccinated.
Erica Salcuni is the Director of Programs and Outreach at the Grossmont Healthcare District. She says this event has something for everyone.
So that we can get folks educated on what's out there for them in the health and social space and have a little bit of fun with them too, which is why we have face painting and balloon animals here as well.
Since it's like in the community, I think it's more accessible for other people, so I think that's really good.
Jocelyn Reyes is a student at El Cajon Valley High School. The sophomore got vaccinated after losing a family member to the virus.
I got the vaccine because recently my grandpa died from COVID, and I thought it would prevent anyone else from dying, anyone else's grandpa, anyone else's family member, so I thought that would be helpful.
Reyes says she feels safer going back to school now that she's fully vaccinated.
Definitely, I really do. I think this is better because I don't really want any of my classmates to die or anything like that.
The End of Summerpalooza continues tomorrow at Briarcrest Park in La Mesa. Melissa May, KPBS News.
Southwestern College joined others today in mandating its students and staff are vaccinated for the fall semester. Masks must also be worn in all indoor settings on campus as a part of a statement. Superintendent and President Mark Sanchez said, quote, "We will continue to monitor local data and listen to our campus community as we work to serve our students in the safest way possible. These health and safety measures are critical steps to beating the COVID-19 pandemic and safely returning to Southwestern College." The University of California and California State University have already mandated vaccinations and masks for the fall semester. Good news, bad news. Daily COVID-19 vaccinations in the U.S. have reached the highest level in a month, but the Delta variant continues to spread. And as Camila Bernal reports, new data from the CDC suggests that at the current pace, it will still take 6 months to get all eligible Americans at least one dose.
While more people are getting vaccinated, the CDC acknowledging the pandemic is far from over.
Delta is here. It's bad.
The variant now accounts for an estimated 93.4% of COVID-19 cases in the U.S.
I can't think of a single person who doesn't at least know one person or a family member or friend who hasn't contracted COVID in the last couple of weeks.
In Louisiana, a rise in children who are hospitalized.
It's hard for us as pediatricians to see kids affected by a preventable disease.
In Florida, hospitalizations up 13%, and the mask debate front and center.
You can think what you want to think, but also these masks have proven that they are saving people.
Now the world is on track to hit more than 200 million cases by next week, according to the World Health Organization. The WHO also saying not yet to booster shots.
WHO is calling for a moratorium on boosters until at least the end of September to enable at least 10% of the population of every country to be vaccinated.
This as back in the U.S., the FDA works to grant full approval of the vaccine, which experts hope could encourage more Americans to get the shot.
They said hopefully by the end of the month. I hope it's even sooner than that.
Camila Bernal, KPBS News.
Some much-needed COVID relief money is coming to small businesses in the county. It's part of Mayor Todd Gloria's goal to get businesses back on track and people back to work. KPBS reporter Alexandra Rangel has more from a business owner in North Park who says a lifeline is very much needed.
Even though it may be from the 1950s.
Gail Higgins, the owner of the Girl Can't Help It, specializes in vintage clothing. Her store has been a labor of love, fueled by her passion for vintage fashion. But lately, it's been more labor with little reward as pandemic hurdles grow higher.
So I was looking into bankruptcy, into closure, into storage units, into whatever I thought may be the next step.
Mayor Gloria's new plan, Back to Work SD, was recently approved by City Council. $10 million will go toward helping nonprofits and small businesses recover from the pandemic's economic impacts. Higgins says it's the help that business owners need right now.
I think that if we receive more help, it will take away some of the anxiety of, is this going to change again? You know, with numbers going up again, with wear a mask, don't wear a mask, vaccinated, not vaccinated.
Angela Landsberg, the executive director of North Park Main Street, says a lot of businesses are still struggling. She says some businesses that took out loans to prevent closure are already being asked to pay that money back. Businesses that need help will be able to apply for the grant money through the San Diego Foundation starting next week. Alexandra Rangel, KPBS News.
When the economy shut down last year, restaurants and the hospitality industry were hit especially hard. But now we're seeing a rise in new restaurants opening, many of them in North County. KPBS's Alexander Nguyen says it's driving economic recovery in the region.
It's lunchtime in downtown Oceanside, and customers are lining up at Nayagi, a so-called pop-up restaurant. Soon, the space will become Matsu, a new restaurant in North County. More than a dozen new restaurants have opened in Oceanside since the pandemic. The city is a microcosm of a larger trend in North County.
For me, it presented the opportunity to finally branch out on my own, almost at a fraction of the cost, because there was so much availability.
William Ike is the owner of Nayagi and Matsu. The restaurant is slated to open next month. Another new restaurant, Carte Blanche, is also hopping on the trend of innovative dining experiences. Owner Brandon Ross says it's exciting to see.
There's just a lot of great concepts, a lot of culinary forward concepts, and we wanted to kind of join in that community.
The San Diego North Economic Development Council CEO Eric Bruvald says the trend of new restaurants openings is driving economic gains in the region.
It's recovering nicely now that we've got folks that are investing not only in restaurants, but in hospitality and new hotels.
Michelle Geller agrees. She's the development manager for the city of Oceanside.
So we're definitely seeing more entrepreneurs up here, more businesses in the startup space coming to North County.
The North San Diego Business Chamber says it expects growth to continue as the region emerges from the pandemic. Alexander Nguyen, KPBS News.
Investigators released new details of the sailor who they believe caused the fire that destroyed the USS Bonhomme Richard in July of 2020. KPBS military reporter Steve Walsh says the documents reveal a name and a possible motive.
Documents unsealed this week showed 20-year-old seaman apprentice Ryan Sawyer Mays had tried to become a Navy SEAL, but he quit 5 days after entering SEAL basic training in Coronado. An Instagram post shows him saying, "I love the smell of napalm in the morning." A witness told investigators Mays hated the Navy. Former ATF fire investigator Robert Shaw says,
"It's all circumstantial. Now, you get a lot of circumstantial case, sooner or later you're able to prove it."
Mays was eventually assigned to the USS Bonhomme Richard. According to naval investigators, morale and behavior among those who fail SEAL training is often challenging once they come to the fleet. His former girlfriend described him as bipolar. During a 10-hour interview, Mays initially told investigators that he didn't know of any way to get out of the area of the fire without being detected, but later revealed that he did.
In a statement like that, we kind of call it a false exculpatory statement, where where you give a statement that's false, but it's intended to show that you couldn't have done it. Oh, I couldn't have been down there. There's no way out. Well, yes, there are ways out.
3 of the 4 nearby fire stations had been disabled. During the investigation, one bottle that had been tagged as evidence was missing at the scene.
Well, I mean, it seems like somebody intentionally tampered with it because the flagging tape was around the bottle and it was put on something. They found the flagging tape, but the bottle was gone. So
documents were originally filed in August 2020 as investigators sought Mays' email history from Google. Beginning July 12th, the fire burned for 5 days aboard the ship. 71 people were injured. Mays is in custody. He is expected to stand trial in military court in San Diego. Steve Walsh, KPBS News.
U.S. Customs and Border Protection agents have started using body cameras with the goal of enhancing transparency and accountability. The rollout is starting along the southern and northern borders, followed by certain ports of entry. CBP expects to deploy about 6,000 cameras by the end of the year. The agency employs roughly 45,000 agents and officers. With the hotter temperatures we've been seeing this week, the last thing that you want is your power to be turned off. But SDGD says the recent outages are necessary. You can see from this map all of the areas that they plan to shut off this week. Reasons ranging from repairing equipment and updating systems. SDGD says many are for wildfire mitigation.
Work with the resources we have and when we have them. And again, wildfire work is just year round. And to the extent we pause, delay, or push this out, it just has a ripple effect of other work.
SDGD says it tried to plan to work in the early morning or at night to avoid shutting off power during the hottest part of the day. An excessive heat warning has been extended through tomorrow. Jessica Pash has your forecast.
High pressure is still going to dominate here over the next couple of days, and along with that, we still have excessive heat warnings and heat advisories that remain posted, but we will see a little bit of a temperature drop as we move beyond Thursday. And temperature-wise, we're going to see a drop-off, but in terms of dry and wet conditions, we're not going to see much of a change there. It's going to stay dry as we head into your weekend. So still, again, big picture showing you some of those excessive heat warnings and heat advisories posted across much of Southern California here because of that strong area of high pressure. These last through Thursday evening and then will be allowed to expire beyond that. Temperature-wise, as we move into tonight, we're going to be falling back down into the low 60s. In Oceanside, low 60s for Escondido, getting down to 64 degrees in El Cajon. And then further inland, it's a mild night in Borrego Springs, upper 80s there for you for your overnight lows. The marine layer will likely thicken back up here late tonight into the early morning hours of your Thursday. So a little bit of low-hanging cloud cover, some fog will be possible. But as we move into the afternoon, it'll be another bright and sunny day, as again, this area of high pressure still remains in control. It's warm and mainly dry for portions of Nevada down into Arizona, Southern California. Most of the wet weather will be confined to the Rockies. And then for your Thursday afternoon, we're back up into the upper 90s in Ramona, triple digits again in Borrego Springs, but temperatures are going to be falling off here. There will be this cooler push of air with the system that's going to be moving into the Pacific Northwest. Some of that is going to try to get down even into Southern California through this weekend. Near the coast, not much of a change, just by a couple degrees here over the next 5 days. Plenty of sunshine here in the forecast. Further inland, we go from the 90s and back down into the mid 80s for this weekend. So a little bit of a better drop here in the mountains from the low 80s on Thursday back down into the low to mid 70s this weekend. And in the deserts, this is the biggest drop off you'll see, from 114 back down to about 110. So not a whole lot of a change, but a little bit cooler. For KPBS News, I'm meteorologist Jessica Pash.
Dangerous weather is returning to California, making the fight against the Dixie Fire even tougher. Thousands of firefighters are preparing themselves as California's largest fire may explode in growth as 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts could stoke the flames. More evacuation orders for 15,000 people have been issued as the Dixie Fire jumped some perimeter lines on Tuesday. Governor Gavin Newsom is blaming climate change for the extreme fire conditions.
A simultaneous crises of not only drought impacted by climate, extreme heat, extreme weather, dry soil conditions, but also energy reliability challenge not only California and Californians, but governors over the entire west coast of the United States.
Dozens of fires are burning throughout the drought-stricken West, including the Bootleg Fire in Oregon, which is the nation's largest burning wildfire. California's second largest reservoir has seen its water level fall to the lowest recorded level ever. Today, Lake Oroville dropped to nearly 643 feet above mean sea level, surpassing the all-time low set in 1977. Now, this comes one day after state water regulators voted in favor of an emergency order limiting water access for thousands of farmers. Kimberly Colliner has the story.
The decision to cut off access to water from the Sacramento-San Joaquin Delta watershed is an unsettling one to farmers.
We're talking some very long-term consequences here for this valley.
It's the demise of freedom and, of course, of food being grown for not just California, but for the United States and in some cases the world.
Valley farmers' food production is in limbo as the state swelters in drought and is expected to stay dry and hot.
When you think it can't get worse, it does get worse. And that's what we're seeing right now with this particular decision.
Already, farmers on the west side of Fresno are getting no water. Other irrigation districts have had their water season slashed dramatically. And now farmers north of Fresno who are used to using the Sacramento-San Joaquin Delta watershed will be left without water too. And it will be shocking.
For many of them, they've never seen cutbacks like they're about to see.
Between 4,000 to 6,000 additional farmers will be impacted. Farmer Jake Kroger says the state hasn't gone about this decision the right way.
Maybe if the state wanted to buy farmland and take those water rights and do whatever they wanted with them, that would have been equitable, but they decided not to do that.
Brian Jacobson worries too. Although his almond tree is expected to bear fruit in 2 weeks, it's supposed to do that for the next 20 years. The future right now is uncertain.
To keep these trees alive to another year, you got to have that water. And for some of these farmers, that may not exist.
The State Water Resources Control Board said it had to make this impossible decision to ensure enough drinking water, protect endangered fish, and ensure salt water doesn't rush into the Delta.
That was Kimberly Colliner reporting. The new water restriction is expected to start in the next 2 weeks. Health officials in San Francisco are allowing certain vaccinated individuals to get a supplemental shot. As Andrea Borba reports, the strategy involves mixing vaccine types in hopes of boosting their effectiveness.
In what could be a first nationwide, the San Francisco Department of Public Health, while not recommending vaccine boosters, is offering this.
We are accommodating special requests from individuals who have received the Johnson & Johnson viral vector COVID-19 vaccine, and in many cases have consulted with their doctor who wish to receive a supplemental dose with an mRNA vaccine, such as Pfizer or Moderna.
The single-dose, one-and-done Johnson & Johnson vaccine is proving to be about 60% effective against the Delta variant currently circulating throughout the Bay Area and nation.
This is better than not having any vaccination alone. So the message is still get the first vaccine that you can get. If you have an opportunity to get the mRNA vaccine, please go ahead and do so because that seems to offer better protection.
In early April, when vaccine appointments were still scarce, Paul Larson got a Johnson & Johnson shot. He's curious and will consult with his doctor about a Pfizer or Moderna supplement shot, in part because of the strength of the Delta variant.
How do I, integrate those same values into my body to give my body that resiliency, that adaptability, and that strength to combat it?
To be clear, the Centers for Disease Control isn't calling for booster shots or supplements yet, though Dr. Anthony Fauci did say at least one group of Americans may well need them.
Those who are transplant, cancer chemotherapy, immunosuppressed because of autoimmune therapy, and others, giving them an additional shot is almost not considered a booster. It's considered part of what their original regimen should have been.
That was Andrea Borba reporting. And again, the CDC and FDA both say they're not yet recommending people get a third shot. A reminder, everyone age 12 and up may be eligible for a vaccine, and you can find more information on our website, kpbs.org, and click on the vaccines link right on our homepage.
I'm Judy Woodruff. Tonight on the NewsHour, the road ahead, how the infrastructure deal aims to make more clean water available. Coming up at 7 after Evening Edition on KPBS.
San Diego is taking action to keep people and sea lions from hurting each other at the rocky shoreline of La Jolla Point. KPBS environment reporter Eric Anderson says the city is asking for emergency approval to keep people out of the sea lion rookery.
The tension between La Jolla Point's sea lions and onlookers has been simmering for years. The attraction of sea lion pups hauled out on the rocky shore is too enticing. This video shows tourists crowding those pups, which are not yet proficient swimmers. And the threat doesn't always come from the shore. Another video shows a diver coming up on the beach and scattering the marine mammals. People regularly ignore guidance about how to deal with those sea lions, but many take in the scene while following the rules. Marlon Aguilera is visiting from Kansas City. She found the sea lions captivating.
It's just very beautiful. I've never seen anything like it. This is my first time actually being here, and I was very shocked to just see the wildlife right here, right in front of us.
And while Aguilera followed the rules and kept her distance, others ignore the warnings. So city officials hope a temporary emergency closure of the rocky shoreline through mid-September will help minimize dangerous interactions. City parks officials say it's important to protect people and to allow the sea lions to care for and raise their young. San Diego City Council member Jolla thought he had a solution when he publicly addressed the issue in June.
What we did about a month ago was put out some additional signs. We did some stenciling on that short wall that encouraged people to stay away. And that, of course, did not really get the results that we were hoping for.
LaCava says the chance to get a selfie with the marine mammals is too irresistible, and the extra signage didn't stop the interactions. He says that puts young sea lion pups in danger, as well as people, because sea lions will lash out if they feel threatened. LaCava hopes the new strong approach during the summer pupping season works.
We will be installing signs that simply say "area closed." And the city park and rec department will determine where to place them. Essentially, it will be on the ocean side of that short wall. We'll also put a chain across the wooden stairway that is at one end of that wall.
It's a really good start.
Robin Davidoff is a docent for the Sierra Club's Seal Society.
We are really pleased to have that. It's a great start. We think that will help quite a bit. A lot of education is needed, and enforcement is needed by the rangers.
Davidoff and others have recorded lots of ill-advised interactions between people and the marine mammals. She says access to the rocky shore needs to be limited because it's just too easy to get close right now. This low wall is sometimes the only barrier between sea lion habitat and the people who are walking by. It's very easy to climb over. Davidoff suggests that perhaps putting a railing on top of it would create the separation that's needed between sea lions and people. The signage and access restrictions the city is asking for would only be in place until the middle of September. Access to the shore would be permitted after the pupping season is over, but city officials are also considering longer-term solutions, which could include cutting off access to the shore during the summer months. Eric Anderson, KPBS News.
Disneyland is changing up its ticketing system for frequent visitors. The theme park says it's retiring its annual passports. This month, it will replace them with what Disney calls its Magic Key program. Michelle Gillet explores the new options.
Relief at the happiest place on earth, as members of Disney's fan club will be able to purchase annual passes once again. Sales start on August 25th.
That's really exciting because, you know, people love Disney, we love Disney.
The new program is called Magic Key. It's similar to other Disney pass holder programs with different price levels and blockout dates. The most expensive is the Dream Key at just under $1,400. Guests can make reservations for Disneyland and California Adventure every day of the year, depending on availability. Next is Believe Key at $949. Most days are open at both parks. Again, reservations are a must. Enchant Key will be sold for $649, but several weeks during the high season are blocked. And the least expensive pass is the Imagine Key, sold only to Southern California residents for the annual price of $399. Much of the summer, popular holiday months, and every weekend are blocked.
And if you look at these prices, I think they're very affordable, so much better than what we were expecting. They're at or below what they were in 2020.
The Rochers have had passes for years and say they're in.
You know, there's a math calculation, right, where you say, geez, how many times do you have to go in order for it to make sense? We easily make that number, and we're not too worried about it. There may be a limitation on the reservations that you can have. We're okay with that. We're excited.
That was Michelle Gillet reporting. Whether you have an annual pass or not, reservations are part of the new normal at Disneyland and California Adventure. And you can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. I hope you have a great evening.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, proud to support the mission of KPBS and privileged to serve San Diego clients. Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, helping homeowners maintain drain, heating, and cooling systems since 1978. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marcos Shiley. And by the